All right. Hey, welcome everybody. This is a quick impromptu live broadcast here. Quick Romeo Langford announcement primer preview. We are joined live in New Albany at New Albany High School by the great Zach McCright and Alex Bozich. Gentlemen, welcome.
It's good to be here. I like how you put great in front of my name, but not in front of Alex's. That sounds about correct. Is that not right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. How do we sound? We're going straight from iPhone here. We sound okay?
You sound good enough to me. You sound good. No one's here for the audio quality. They're here for one of the most epic recruiting announcements ever, which should, let's see, we're set to start, what, in about 2 hours and 10 minutes?
Yeah, and it appears, I know Alex just got done. I was doing some sound testing. I know Alex just got done talking to Jim Shannon, the head coach of New Albany, and kind of gave you maybe a rundown of how everything's going to go.
That's what Mr. Langford was talking about on the radio today earlier with Matt Dennison, that there's going to be several speakers before Romeo makes the announcement. So it may be towards the bottom half of the 7 o'clock hour before we actually hear from Romeo or get an announcement. I know there's a couple of videos they're going to be playing as well. So I would maybe urge a little patience tonight. It's not going to happen right at 7 o'clock Eastern, but it's going to be an interesting night. There's already a decent line forming outside the building, people with some chairs and different things, a lot of IU gear on. So it should be an interesting night.
And maybe at the end of this, Jared, here in a couple minutes, maybe me and Alex will walk outside, bring the camera out there, and kind of show everybody that's watching. So if you're watching right now and you want to get a glimpse of outside, and you think some other people would like to see a glimpse of outside, share this video, and we'll be out there in like 5 or 6 minutes here.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. So what's kind of the scuttlebutt around there? I mean, I imagine the atmosphere is electric. I imagine there's a buzz. Obviously, everything that we've seen from national voices and really everyone chiming in seems to think that the wind is blowing in Indiana's direction for this. Are you sensing anything different there on the scene?
Well, I got here at about 2:30 Eastern time, and we're broadcasting. Our radio show is broadcasting up there as we speak, and it's funny. Before I walked in, I know there was a lot of people that not around here, but just in New Albany and in the vicinity. I think everybody was feeling pretty good about Romeo going to Indiana. But then when you walk in here, at least in my purview, you walk back into this gym, and I think the nerves start to reset in for a lot of the IU fans that are kind of walking around. I know up on the catwalk, and if people are familiar with New Albany High School, the catwalk is very famous for basically being the place for the media. If you guys are familiar with Cameron Indoor Stadium, it's kind of the same feel. Jim Shannon's been up there. A bunch of other, local celebrities, for lack of a better term, have been up there. And you hear them speak, and it's just like, I wish you'd be a little closer to 100%, with your tone and such. And I think it might just be the fact that when you get back in this place and the levity of the moment, I think kind of hits. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, nobody knows definitively, and I think there's so many people that want Romeo to come to IU just because IU fans, or they realize just kind of what he's meant to this area and the state of Indiana high school basketball. They want to see that continue. So I guess the nerves probably coming from the fact of what happens if the expected doesn't happen. What if he goes to Kansas? What if he goes to Vanderbilt? But overall, I get the sense that, and this has been debated and talked about, I think people are going to support him regardless. I've already heard that he's going to do autographs tonight after the announcement. I don't know how that would be if he didn't pick Indiana, but I'm sure people are still going to want his autograph regardless because he's Romeo Langford. And most of the people, there's going to be IU fans here. There's going to be a ton of New Albany basketball fans too that have supported this kid. His first 3 years of high school, when it didn't even look like there was a good possibility that he was going to go to Indiana. So should be an interesting night. I agree with Zach though. You make the drive in and you're like, oh, he's going to Indiana. And then you get in here and you see all the cameras set up. You see this big stage and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. Your mind starts to wander.
Yeah.
So.
What do you expect from Romeo? I mean, we know that he's a quiet guy. He's not one to say extra words. He's a lot like perhaps his future coach in that way if he ends up choosing Indiana. What do you expect from him in terms of, a speech or when he's getting ready to make the announcement? Do you think it's something that he'll be up there talking for a while, or will he be pretty straight and to the point once it gets to that part?
I think it'll be a 2 or 3 minute at the most talk from Romeo. I think the leading up to it will be a lot bigger. I think Don Unruh is supposed to talk to the athletic director here for a long time. Coach Shannon, obviously. Romeo's pastor is going to say some words. Mr. Langford. I could see Mr. Langford giving a nice,
diatribe,
a nice 15, 20-minute speech. I mean, just as serious of a guy as he is, he's really passionate. The fact that Romeo stayed here for 4 years and had opportunities to go everywhere else, it means a lot for him to have this moment in this gym. I think that's why they're doing it here. So I could see him going up and having some interesting things to say and having just kind of, he's obviously had to sign off on this happening, this announcement as it is. And I could see him going up and giving some nice remarks for an extended amount of time.
I'll just add to that. I'm in full agreement. I'll add to it that, and I can't recall exactly, so don't quote me on this, but I had looked at an itinerary. There had been a handout for tonight. And just to give you an idea of what whoever put this handout together, I'll be surprised if it goes this way, but they put in 10 minutes for Don Unruh, the athletic director. I'm going to guess he doesn't come close to hitting 10 minutes.
No.
They put 15 minutes in for Jim Shannon, the head coach of New Albany. I'm going to guess he does not go anywhere close to 15 minutes.
No.
And then Langford's pastor, I'm pretty sure they have him for 10 minutes. And then they have Tim Langford for either 15 or 20. The only person that would come close to their allotted time would be Tim. And then they got Romeo, just to get back to your original question, they got Romeo for 5 minutes. And
well, 4.5 of those minutes will be standing ovation. So
I was going to say, I'll be shocked if he hits 5 minutes for sure. So, I think they've got, as far as an itinerary is concerned, I think they've got this slotted for the back end of the 7 o'clock hour. I'd be shocked if it actually gets to the back end of the 7 o'clock hour.
Are you expecting any special guests? Anybody notable other than obviously, you guys and other noted members of the IU media? Any other special guest expected in attendance? I imagine you might not even be able to say if you did know.
I haven't heard of anything.
I haven't heard anything either. I mean,
there's a bunch of radio stations broadcasting up on the catwalk. I've already seen Bob Kravitz here. I see Eric Crawford from WDRB. I see Rick Bozich, who you might know from WDRB. He's in here.
Heard of him.
There's going to be a who's who of local
Doyle
media.
will be here.
Right.
Osterman, all the IU crew, they're all here. It'll be the usual suspects, led by this guy right here.
Is Doyle still holding firm to Kansas being a done deal?
I don't think he is he?
I don't think so.
I think he's moved away. We've actually been told by him that he is coming to the after party, which would only be a real after party if Romeo chose IU.
So, yeah, because the Hoopsters guy said if he doesn't pick IU, he's going to be on the Second Street Bridge.
Yes, there you go. I don't know if you can hear us over the PA.
We can.
They're announcing on the PA. But,
hey, when do you have to go, Zach?
Let's see. Probably about right now. I tell you what, let me show you around here and kind of give you.
All right, I'm out of here.
Alex is out.
See y'all.
See you, Alex.
I'll show you around here real quick. Let me see if I can't flip my camera over here. There we go. So here is from there's the midcourt Bulldogs there, and there is the setup there, as it were, for the camera stage. And so if I bring it around, there's a group of about, I count 20 chairs here for lack of a better term, for the dignitaries. And then on the stage, there is 8 chairs behind a podium.
Wow.
And if you take a look behind it there, 2 big screens. They have got 2 different presentations that they will have on video. One of them, I think, is just going to be on a loop, a highlight reel on a loop. As the doors open at 6 o'clock up until 7, it'll just be a loop of Romeo highlights, which I gave a little bit of a preview of on my Twitter feed. And then we'll take a quick look out here. And I don't know if I want to go outside or not because I'm afraid the doors will lock behind me.
You wouldn't want that.
Will you keep the door open for me if I go outside real quick? Perfect. There we go. So I saw the very
live broadcast to get to.
So the very first people were here at 2:45 Eastern.
Right after school let out, right?
That's right. And I saw these people and talked to them briefly, but now we'll take a look and see how long it is. Thanks for doing this. So there we go. There's my boy, Johnny Goldman. Johnny, say hello to the people on assembly call.
Hello, people on assembly call.
There you go. What time did you get here?
About 10 after 3.
10 after 3 for the 8th man in line.
Very nice.
And then if you just come, there we go. Channel 13 is in. Hello, how are you? It's good to see you. So the line comes out to here, and there's a main road here.
This is 2 hours before people are allowed in.
Correct. And then I'm going to take a turn here just to kind of give you an idea.
I guess it's only an hour before people are going to be let in.
Hour to doors open. To doors open, 2 hours to the presentation beginning. So I'm on the street here, okay? So what they've done is right here, the crowd has taken a big U-turn, and I'm just going to walk out into the middle of the street here just to give you a quick idea. But I don't know if you can see how far that goes down.
Holy smokes.
So you see the TV towers up there, mobile towers, but it goes a nice long ways. So I'd say, I don't know, I'd say maybe 400 or 500 here just hanging out right now for, an hour prior to doors open.
That's like an eighth of the capacity, right? Of what it.
Oh yeah. It's for for an hour before, I'd say it's not too bad. I've seen worse for basketball games, but
this isn't a game. It's not a game. It's
right.
An announcement.
That's right. And that being said, I've been told that you might have that the fire marshal has been here today, and they have, let's just say they have tweaked capacity if necessary. It's 4,100 is the capacity in here, but since the basketball court won't necessarily be in use for the entire duration, they might allow even some more in here. Here's Rick Posage. This is the people on assembly call.
Hey,
a post-game show tonight?
You bet it. You betcha. Post-announcement show, our first one ever.
The first post-announcement show.
Talking there a few weeks ago. You were good.
Thanks, buddy. So yeah, we got it going on, man. It's going to be fun.
Hey, last question for you. Of all the people that are there dressed in the colors of a university, is there anybody not in cream and crimson? Are you seeing any blue or any gold?
You talking about outside?
Yeah, outside.
Outside? I don't recall seeing any. Don't recall. I would be shocked if I saw. I tell you what, if there are people in Kansas blue or Mandy gold, they are brave souls. They are brave souls. So
and very hopeful souls.
No doubt. So, man, it's going to be crazy. I mean, it already is crazy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Something that I know you and I have never covered, and maybe never will again.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, hey, thanks for coming on live. If you want to come on the show tonight, I'll send you the link. Just hop on anytime. So
I'll hop in when I can. I'll definitely hit it up.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Zach.
All right, see you guys.
Wow. Well, so there was the scene. I wasn't quite expecting that. There was the scene live in New Albany High School as we are an hour before the doors open, 2 hours before the ceremony starts. Saw a question here on Periscope. Any news on who will be live streaming the announcement? If you go to the Assembly Call Twitter page, twitter.com/assemblycall, I pinned a tweet at the top that has links for the stream. So WDRB, they will have a live stream. That's linked up there. If you can only listen to the audio, the Big X, which is what Zach's getting ready to go on live right now. They also run the Assembly Call, and we do a weekly appearance on there. They will have the audio. And then as soon as the ceremony is over, we will go live here on the Assembly Call. So I don't know exactly what time that will be, but planning, as we've been doing now, going live on Periscope, going live on Facebook, going live on YouTube. I've talked with a couple of people, like special guest type people. Obviously that's contingent on, Romeo choosing IU and, them probably figuring out the technology for Zoom, but it's pretty easy. So hopefully that'll happen. I don't want to, say the names or spoil that, just out of respect to them in case they can't come or don't want to come for whatever reason. But we should have, kind of a full house roundtable discussion, just breaking down, what we see in the ceremony, what the announcement means, good or bad for Indiana. I sent an email out to all of our subscribers earlier today, just outlining, when the event is, all the particulars of the event. And at the end, I said, I don't really want to offer a prediction per se, just because, number one, I mean, this is Romeo's day, and because no one knows for sure. I mean, that's kind of the crazy thing is, you talk to people like Zach, you talk to people like Alex, who are really close to the situation. If there were going to be people who would know, those guys would probably know, and they don't know definitively. You see national experts like Evan Daniels, and he said earlier today, if he had to pick, he would guess that it's Indiana, but no one knows for sure. And so that's, I guess, Zach and Alex said, you drive up, you drive to New Albany, you're thinking about it all day, and you've got this, kind of a confident feeling that the trends of the past 3 or 4 weeks are what will come through later tonight. But, then, kind of basing it off what they said, you get there and you're in this live event and there's this buzz and anything could happen. And, so as I, sent in the email and as I mentioned on Twitter, you don't have to look very far back in this particular recruiting cycle to see an announcement that went basically in the exact opposite direction that people thought. Zion Williamson, one of the only recruits in this class that is rated higher than Romeo Langford, had a crystal ball of 92% for Clemson, which is his home state school. He's from South Carolina. 92%. Everybody thought for the most part that he was going to go there. I believe North Carolina and Duke were lingering in that recruitment. Duke was at 4% on the crystal ball, and he ended up picking Duke, to the surprise of many. So I don't necessarily say that to, cast a pall of doom and gloom upon, what we expect to see later today. But it's just a reminder that things can happen. I mean, I guess, there's still a few hours until the announcement. Maybe, he could change his mind between now and then, or maybe he made up his mind differently than what we all think. So I think, if I had to, one of those, gun to head type things and I had to pick, I would say Indiana, simply because the wind seems to be blowing that way. And when you read the tea leaves and listen to the people who, know more about this than anybody, they seem to think it's Indiana, and that's good enough for me. But the nice thing is we will find out for sure later tonight. And, it will be the conclusion of one of the most epic recruitments, certainly that I can remember being an IU fan, and probably, if you talk to people like Bill Murphy and other, people who have seen, Indiana basketball for many more years than me, probably one of the more epic recruitments in the history of Indiana basketball because of the profile that Romeo had, because of all the things that he did as a high school player, because of how far out it seemed Indiana was and how they've kind of charged back in, since Archie took over, and have just seemed to gain a little ground and gain a little ground and gain a little ground. And then, whoops, now the momentum looks like it's for Vanderbilt. And whoops, now the momentum looks like it's for Kansas. But now, maybe kind of turning back around in Indiana's favor. So there have been twists and turns and ups and downs. But at the center of it, there has been this incredible player who not only has done amazing things on the court, but has been, I don't want to say equally as amazing off the court, because, that would almost take away from how good he's been on the court. But I mean, the way that he's handled it off the court has been mightily impressive. The humility that he's handled it with, his willingness to give back to the community that's given back so much to him, and to, show his appreciation for the fans, not with a tweet here or there, not with words which can be cheap, but with actions like staying, for an hour after a game where he's played, a lot of minutes and had a lot of pressure on him and been going for a state title, and to stay after and sign autographs. So all of those things, we've talked about him a bunch. I'm not breaking any news here, but, I think you add all of those things up, and that's why this is so important. If you don't know, I live down in Dallas, Texas. My wife, she's from Texas, doesn't quite get our obsession with basketball. Although, we've now been together for 5 years, so she's kind of gotten a taste of it, especially these last 2 years, as we haven't won many games, and we keep showing up for the assembly call and doing these radio shows, and she's like, are people actually listening to this stuff? I mean, your team's not very good. And I was like, you don't quite understand. And so she doesn't quite get the hoopla, here for this. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe no one who didn't come from the state and who hasn't followed this closely can get it. But you get it, I get it. Those of us who have followed this intimately get it, and that's why I don't think too much is being made out of this. It's a really important decision. One of the best basketball players that we've all ever seen come through the state. And we all really appreciate our basketball in the state. We're going to find out where that guy is going to play college basketball. Even if Indiana weren't involved, that would be important to find out. But the fact that Indiana is involved and how much it could mean to, the Indiana basketball program with a new coach and obviously with a lot of, really important recruits coming up in classes behind Romeo, that he could kind of maybe pave the way for them to come, and just what it could mean for next year, with a roster that is, and we'll talk about this on the show if Romeo does pick Indiana, but it's a roster that in many ways is ready-made to plunk Romeo on it and really go to the next level, because that's the biggest thing that this team is missing is a go-to scorer in the backcourt, a guy that can make shots, that can score at all three levels, and that can go get you a bucket when you need it. Yes, we still need a point guard. Yes, there are still some other holes on the roster, but he would fill the single biggest hole. So, I mean, literally, there are just so many reasons why this is a big decision. So I don't need to tell you that. I wasn't even really planning on doing the show. As you can tell, I just got done working out. But texted Zach, he was able to come on. Texted Alex, he was able to come on. So I wanted to make sure that we got that to you guys before Zach had to go on and do the radio. If there are any questions, I'll stay here for a few more minutes and answer a few questions. If not, I got to go shower, pick up my daughter from daycare, get her fed, and then get here to be in front of the computer to watch this announcement. And then, like I said, we're going to break it all down for you. Let me open up our YouTube feed real quick and just make sure I don't miss any comments in there. And again, we will be going live, and we will have our normal show Thursday night. This is just obviously a one night thing for tonight. Okay, no comments there. See if anything comes through on Periscope. Nope. All right, so let me sign off now. Go get some stuff done to get ready for this. You all do whatever pre-announcement preparations you need to make, eat, take a nap, drink, take a shower, whatever you need to do to get ready for the announcement. And we'll all be convening back online here in less than 2 hours as the ceremony begins. It will be the athletic director first, then Jim Shannon, then Romeo's pastor, then Mr. Langford, and then Romeo Langford giving his announcement with some video tributes interspersed in there. The expectation seems to be that Romeo's announcement itself will come sometime at the bottom of the hour, sometime around 8 o'clock. So be ready. Again, go to twitter.com/assembly call. You will find the link for the stream, the WDRB stream for video, as well as the audio stream for the Big X. Thank you for joining me. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/assembly call. We will go live on all three of those locations as soon as the ceremony is over and break it down. Hopefully this is one of the easiest banner moments I've ever had to come up with for a show. Let's just put it that way, because I think Romeo committing to Indiana would be among the more obvious banner moments that we've had since we've been doing this show. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you tonight on a special edition of the Assembly Call, talking about Romeo Langford's much anticipated announcement. We'll talk to you then.